what's up, Clover fam? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about what I spend in a month. And just like clockwork, every time I start talking, guess who has to come by and say hello? Just this little lady right here. So we're filming right now. Yeah, we're filming. So anyway, today we are going to talk about what I spent in a month in January 2021. I'll talk a little bit about the categories, and I'm gonna try something new and try to show you what I spent, kind of like a vlog. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. And so I hope you like it. We'll see what happens. And if it is something that you like, be sure to let me know in the comments if you like this new format. But also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and hit like, and then we will get started. Now, for those of you who are new to this channel, you might not know that every month I budget and I try to stick to that budget. And regardless of whether or not I stick to the budget or not, I share what I spent and I share my numbers and I tell you if I went over budget or not. Most of the time I stay within budget, but a lot of the times there are things that happen that I consider screw ups, and I'll talk about those very transparently on this channel as well as in my blog. If you've already been following my channel for a while, you already know this, but I am trying something new where I'm literally trying to vlog my experience. And I'll tell you what, I sometimes forget to actually film when I spend money, but I'm trying, and we're gonna try and make sure that in the month of February, I'm going to film everything. Now, if you've watched my most recent videos, you know that at the end of 2020, I kind of took a break from budgeting so much. I still budgeted, but I didn't worry so much about what money I was spending. Instead, I just tried to enjoy the holidays. I tried to enjoy the end of the year, and so I spent a little bit more in categories like entertainment, special occasions, personal, and dating, so that I could really just kind of have a little bit of fun and not really worry about what I was spending. It was a much needed break from always being really strict with my money, but I was a little bit nervous that when I started budgeting again in January that I wouldn't be able to stick to a strict budget again. And luckily the numbers have shown me that I'm pretty good at getting back on track, because in January 2021, I only actually spent about $3,000 when you account for how much money I spent in savings, taxes, and on debt. Now, before we dive into literally everything that I spent my money on in January 2021, we're gonna take a look at the overarching numbers for the categories. I don't know what that sound effect was. So at first glance, when you look at the total amount of money that I spent in January 2021, you'll see a big old $10,000. But that is not exactly true. Once we dive deeper into the numbers, you'll see that I put $2.2 thousand in my home fund, which is a savings account. I also spent $5,000 on taxes, which isn't something I usually count as a normal expense. And I also spent $672 on debt. This means if we just look at the numbers, then I really only spent about $2.9 thousand on all of my other expenses. So my groceries, my entertainment, my rent, and all of those other general expenses. As many of you know from watching my last video, I wanted to spend less than $300 on groceries, and this last month I was able to do that. I spent $277 on groceries, which excites me because that means I'm on the path to spending less money on groceries in the long haul. At the same time, I kind of struggle with this because a lot of the times health food and food that makes you feel good is a lot more expensive. So I don't really know if I'm going to be able to keep that up or not, because ultimately I do want to be buying food that's good for me, and I also want to be focused on buying healthy products instead of just saving money on groceries. Another one of the goals that I set for myself in December 2020 is that I only wanted to spend $150 on entertainment and $100 on dating expenses. With the numbers in, I ended up spending less than that by a decent amount. In January 2021, I only spent $89 on dating, and I spent about $100 on entertainment, which is a lot better than what I was doing the last couple of months of 2020. Once we get to the spending report section, I'll explain where that money went and what I actually spent on in those categories. Now, one of the categories that has been high for the last couple of months is health and medical, and this month was no different. I spent more than $400 on health and medical in January 2021. And if you've been watching, you probably know exactly why I spent that amount of money. And it's in part because of the never-ending sleep issues that I've been having. In addition to that, I also spent some money in some other areas, but again, we'll get to that when I get to the spending report. One of the things that I am a little bit worried about with my health and medical for the entire year of 2021 is that my expenses are likely going to go up because I used to use what's called a flexible spending account, or a FSA, in order to spend all of my money on health and medical in a year. And what that is essentially is a debit card where you put pre-tax money into this debit card and you pay for all of your medical expenses with this debit card. I only put about $1,000 in my FSA last year, and I ended up using that up completely, but I really wasn't doing things like going to the chiropractor or getting that many massages because of the pandemic. But this year I am opting out of using a FSA, and instead I am switching over to an HSA. This is going to be more expensive because the plan, the month-to-month cost of using the plan is more expensive, so that's going to cut into my paycheck. And then on top of that, I also am contributing to a health savings account, which is called an HSA, and that's going to take out about $300 per month from my paycheck. While that initial deposit from my paycheck is definitely going to be a hit and is gonna suck, it's really good because in the long run, I'm going to be putting in several $1,000s into my HSA every year. And my employer is also going to be putting in about $120 per pay period for me into that health savings account. The health savings account is something I'll explain on a video in the future, but essentially it's like a little brokerage account that is tied to a debit card that you can use to spend money on medical expenses. But if you're not spending that money, you can also just invest that money in that brokerage account as well. So my guess is that I'll have a lot more expenses in health medical this year because I'm not using the FSA, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. Now, let's get into my actual spending report. And like I said, I'm going to do this in a little bit different way. When I remembered to in January, I filmed when I spent money on things. And so I'm going to put all those clips together, kind of like a vlog. But like I said, I wasn't perfect and I certainly didn't remember to track everything. So I'll probably just explain some of it too. Oh, starting on the first of the month, I immediately, as soon as I got paid, transferred $1,000 into my home fund account. Then I also spent $34 on groceries and another $22 on groceries that I counted as a dating expense because I was doing it for dating. I was doing it to cook dinner with my boyfriend. Then on the 3rd, I spent another $75 on groceries, and this was like my big Aldi run for myself, not for my boyfriend. And then I also had to spend $137 on Oak Park parking because parking in Oak Park frickin' sucks. On the 5th, my rent was taken out, so that was $14.19. I just got done with a therapy session, and one of the things that we talked about is how pretty much all of my problems would be solved if I just got better sleep. So I decided to purchase these blackout curtains for the bedroom so that I can get a lot better sleep. And then I also am obviously getting the curtain rod. Here's to hoping this helps with my sleep because I freaking need it. I am in a book club for anti-racism, and this is the book we're reading this month. That was $25. Most of you know I am also a painter, and so I spent about $85 on a bunch of different canvases and things. I actually do pet portraits for a company in Chicago that does dog therapy, and so anytime a dog passes, I do a portrait for them. Luckily, that's a business write-off though. On the 10th, I spent some more money at Jewel. Not from the area, it's a standard grocery store in this area. It's a little bit more expensive than I like to spend. In fact, I think it's about 80% more expensive than Aldi, but sometimes I do it for convenience. So in addition to that, I also spent money on Sprint, my cell phone bill, and then I also spent money on tea. I counted the tea as an entertainment expense because I really wasn't doing that much to entertain myself, and so I kind of figured it's like an entertainment expense because it's just something special that I wanted to have around the house. Now on the 15th, I spent $5,000 on taxes. Those are the quarterly payments that I make for my real estate investment. I spent another $62 at Aldi, and then another $46 at Jewel. I don't understand why I'm spending so much money on food. Then on the 16th, I paid $74 for Comcast, another $30 for therapy, and then I also, for some reason, little Miss Lady Logan, she decided that when a new dog came over to my boyfriend's house that she needed to mark her territory on his carpet 3 times in one night. So I decided to purchase one of those enzyme cleaners so that she would not pee in that spot again, and that was $15. Now, on the epic, never-ending quest for me to get a good night's sleep, I did quite a few things in January 2021 to try and improve my sleep, and I bought these. It was 2 for $40 because this is like the doctor recommended melatonin. So when I went to the sleep doctor, that is what they recommended, and they've been helping. I also spent $30 on a sleep appointment with a sleep specialist, and I'm currently doing a list of like 14 things that they're having me do in order to improve my sleep hygiene. So that's going well. I haven't had coffee in a while, but we'll see. I still feel tired all the time. So another thing I got for sleep was a weighted blanket and a duvet cover, and this thing's amazing. I've been sleeping a lot better ever since I started using a weighted blanket. It has seriously improved my sleep so much just by using a weighted blanket, and I used to be the type of person who was like, oh, I get too hot, there's no way I could do a weighted blanket, but it's amazing once you get used to it. Then on the 19th, I also spent more money on utilities, and I transferred another $1,000 to my home fund. On the 22nd, I spent more money on groceries, and this time I actually put it into entertainment because I ran out of money in my grocery department, and on top of that, it was like for things like snacks. I spent another $68 on Aldi, which I considered groceries because it was strictly for groceries. It wasn't like just a snack run or anything like that. I am super excited about this purchase. I spent $20 on a robe from Amazon, and it has a hood. Another one of the things that I bought during this pay period was Promising Young Woman, which is a new movie out that I rented on Amazon Prime. That was about $20. Highly recommend it. Great movie, and it was really great for just a date night. And then I spent $13 on cranberry juice and toothpaste. Weird combination, I know. When did toothpaste start getting so expensive? On the 24th, I transferred another $200 to my home fund, spent $45 on dog food, paid $15 for a program that I'm on for my health, spent $672 in student loans. So Venmo'd one of my friends for an igloo that we went to up in Milwaukee, where you could order drinks ahead and order a cheese board ahead and just sit in an igloo and drink. I spent like $200 almost on contacts and stocking up for the year. Why are these things so expensive? This is about a 6-month supply, and my insurance covered $130 of it. Now that's pretty much it for my savings and spending report, but let's take a look at my total amount of savings and my total amount of debt so we can take a look at what my net worth currently is. The total that I spent, again, was $10,800 in January 2021, but when you subtract the amount of money that I put on debt, taxes, and savings, I really only spent about $2,900. That means my percent of money that I spent on savings, meaning the percent of income that I spent on savings, was at 37%. The percent of my income that I spent on debt was at 11%. And that means that I'm living off of 51% of my total income. Of course, Logan decides that right now is the best time for her to start playing with her tennis ball. Look at her. She's so cute. All right, so we're just gonna have Logan playing in the background. Nice and calm. So anyway, let's take a look at my savings. So currently in my emergency fund, I have $10,000. In my home fund, I have $6,000. In my 401k, I have $75,000. My real estate investment is sitting at $63.2 thousand. A little caveat on the real estate investment. So the way that I currently invest in real estate is by funding flips in the Chicago area, meaning a contractor uses my money in order to fund a flip. So I receive interest income. Is currently dealing with some issues, so I haven't received the money back yet. So I'm a little bit nervous that that money is not actually going to get paid out to me. So if so, all the money that I paid on taxes of that money last year will come back to me. So at least that's good. But I'm a little bit nervous that I might lose about $60,000. We'll see what happens. Like every investment that there is out there, every investment has some level of risk. And that's why you should always have an emergency fund, and that emergency fund shouldn't be invested. Instead, you should focus on investing money that you don't need right now. So essentially, if I do lose that $63,000, I know I'll be okay. Will it suck? Absolutely, but it'll be one of those things where it's a learning lesson, and I'll definitely take a huge hit in terms of my net worth and my savings amount, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna kill me, and it's something that over the course of many years, I'll be able to make back. At least that's what I tell myself. So with the real estate investment counted in that, my total savings is sitting at $154,000. My total debt is sitting at about $28,000, which means that I currently have a net worth of $125,000. Now this majorly went up between December 2020 and January 2021 because my real estate investment renewed. If you take the real estate investment out of the current situation, my numbers look very different, but I'm still hoping that I don't have to take those numbers out. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's look at what goals I set for myself in December 2020 and how I did in January 2021. So like I said earlier, in December 2021, I decided I really wanted to save about $2,000 for my home fund, and I actually saved $2,200. So that's a win. I also said that I only wanted to spend $150 on entertainment and $100 on dating in January 2021, and I ended up spending less than that. I also said that I only wanted to eat out once every 2 weeks in January, and we ended up doing that, and the best part is that my boyfriend paid for it. So it's not even in the spending report. Now, as for my goals in February 2021, there's a few things that I'd like to do. So with the hits to my paycheck, which means I've got 16% of my income coming out to my 401k, I have about $300 a month coming out to fund my HSA. I have to start paying for insurance again because last year my company was paying for my insurance, and so now that's going to be coming out. That's another $200 a month that's going to be coming out of my paycheck. So my income's definitely going to be different this year, and it's also not going to be probably as high as it was, even though I got a 6% raise last year. So with that, my savings goal for my home fund in February 2021 is actually only $1,000 because I'm not totally sure what my income's going to look like, and I think that's probably a reasonable goal. I think that I won't have any issues hitting that, but at the same time, we'll see. So I also only want to spend $150 on entertainment and $100 on dating again. I don't think I'm actually going to hit that because I'm planning on seeing some friends up in Milwaukee, but at the same time, we'll see. I'll try. When I say friends, it's socially distanced, it's 2 people, and we've been quarantining. Then I'd also like to do my taxes in February 2021. I don't know if that's possible because I'm still waiting on some tax forms for my real estate investment that had to be corrected, but that's the goal, and we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it. Definitely a lot of good things happening, and it's really nice to know that I got my spending back under control, and so I hope to keep that going in February 2021. I felt like when I was spending so much money in the end of the year with like November and December, I was worried that I'd just get on that trajectory and not turn around. But luckily, because I've been doing this so long, it's just kind of second nature for me to rein things back in because I know at the end of the day, my financial goals are way more important than pretty much any other spending thing that I could be spending money on. I'm really hoping that this year will be the year that we can start traveling again. Every time. But she's cute, so we let it happen. But anyway, so I'm really excited, and we'll see what February 2021 brings. And I'm also just really stoked to see that net worth rising quite a bit. So I'm hoping I get that real estate money back. I don't know how soon I'm going to find out if I am actually getting it back or not. So we'll see what happens. I've said we'll see what happens many times on this episode, but you know, that's really all I can do. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you're spending your money on in January and what you're trying to do in February in the comments below. And if this is the type of stuff that you like to watch, I really appreciate it if you could like this video and hit subscribe. It really helps my channel grow at the end of the day, and it lets the YouTube algorithm know that this is a video that maybe they should be suggesting to other people. So if that's something that you're into and if this is something that you enjoyed, please hit that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.